And now, News 4's Weather Extra with Chief Meteorologist David Paul.
Welcome into Weather Extra on this Thursday, this very cold Thursday evening. Talk about cold up there in Iowa. Temperatures well below zero. Snow-covered ground. Just a very wintry scenario all across Iowa. Western Iowa, central Iowa, eastern Iowa. I remember those days. That's why I moved south, because I couldn't handle the cold. And you know what? We get pretty cold here, Mr. Ryan Duggar.
I will say, I mean, we do get pretty cold, but you were talking about that cold up there, and that's why I want to stay in the south as long as I can, because I don't know if I can handle that.
Yeah, winters up there get kind of long. They're certainly kind of long here, I think. I don't know. We had some really cold air in January. It warmed up pretty good as we went through at least the early part of this month, but the cold air is back in place in the Wiregrass and beyond. We'll check out some of the wintry weather scenarios and temperatures from across the country right now with meteorologist Zach Webster.
We're starting to see that colder air settle in across our portion of the country as it moved throughout the day today. That continues into early Friday morning as well. However, yesterday morning we started to see some of those colder temperatures move, especially into the northern and central portions of the plains. There's a quick look at where those low temperatures wound up yesterday morning around the country, but look again here over the northern portions of the plains. Look at the number of these readings where we had low temperatures, not wind chills, just straight up temperatures dropping down all the way into the negative 20s and negative 30s out across the northern portions of the Rockies and the northern portions of the plains as well. And even into early this morning, those wind chills dropping down into the lower and middle negative 40s across portions of Wyoming, Montana, North and South Dakota. Some of those wind chills got so cold, we don't even have a color registered for it over portions of Montana extending up into Canada, but even across the central and southern portions of the plains, those wind chills drop down into the negative single digits in Dallas, negative teens in Oklahoma City, even negative 20s for those wind chills in Omaha. We won't get quite that cold, but we will see some of that colder air settle into our region as we get into early Friday morning. Yesterday also a pretty snowy day across portions of the central plains and portions of the mid-south. 7, 8, 9 inches of snow farther back off toward the west. Northern portions of Alabama saw right around an inch of snow.
Whew, wintry.
Yeah, I mean, that snow, really, we've been tracking that snow to allow for that cold to come in, and you saw how much it really honed in parts of the Midwest. And yeah, you won't catch me in North Dakota this time of year. Maybe in May and into the summer. Yeah, but
speaking of North Dakota, some parts of Montana and North Dakota will go from minus 40 this week to 40, 45 next week, an 80-some degree swing in the matter of 1 week. That's like going from 10 to 90 degrees.
I was about to say, they can break out their shorts for that.
They will, I'm sure, yeah. That will feel warm. All right, temperatures tonight for us will be cold. Temperatures already in the lower 30s, tumbling into the middle 20s for tomorrow morning. About 25 for the Dothan area, northward colder, area south warmer or not as cold. Tomorrow night, cold again with those readings right around the freezing mark. Tomorrow morning, Ryan, a record, I'll bet you it happens.
Yeah, no, yeah, it definitely happens for us. We're going to be down in the mid-20s, and last time our record was at 30 degrees for 2009. What's interesting is that kind of closes the door on record lows in 30 degrees. This was like our only missing days. In between, we've seen record lows in the 20s as well.
Yeah, middle to lower 20s. So yeah, kind of an oddity tomorrow. I have that record low at 30. It will be a distant memory as we go through next week. There's the cold air departing as we head through time. That jet stream lifts northwards, so notice that warmer air taking over the southern part of the U.S. by next Wednesday. Temperatures Tuesday and Wednesday into the 70s. Well, hey, coming up next, it's In the Yard with me. Stay tuned.
And now, News 4's Weather Extra.
Welcome back to Weather Extra. Ryan, the worst case scenario is unfolding. Really cold in January, really warm in February. That kick-started the landscape, and now it's cold again.
Yeah, it's cold again. And so in that time, that's allowed for some plants to kind of get used to that warmth. They were trying to bud and sprout a little bit, and now that cold is settling in. That's not good news at all.
Trouble tonight. Let's go in the yard with me right now.
I love palm trees. I love the look of palm trees. I love growing palm trees, but they're not real cold hardy. At least some of them are not. This is a Washingtonia robusta, and there's some good news because in the middle, I see green. My 2 cents, if you want to grow palm trees, pick the cold hardy varieties. These are sable palms, big ones, and these were unprotected down to the 13 degrees I hit in my backyard. The airport hit 9 in January. Just a little bit of burn at the tip of the fronds, but otherwise looking good. Another option for cold hardy palm trees, windmills. These are native to China and they can just shake off the cold like it's no big deal, especially once they become established. If they're really little, you can sometimes have some freeze burn where the palm fronds come out of the trunk, but once they're established, these will handle 10, 15 degrees, no problem. My poor banana trees are dead. These were so beautiful back in the fall, but I'll let the freeze get them in January. The cool thing about bananas, they will come back right from the ground. There's a little one starting right there. I'm lucky that my fruit trees are not in full bloom yet. These are peach trees here that I'm showing you. These blossoms starting to come out. These are going to be better than the peach trees out there that are in full bloom as temperatures tonight drop into the middle to upper 20s. It all depends on how cold we get tonight and the stage of the bloom. I'm fortunate, but some of the big commercial growers with varieties that are in full bloom right now may sustain some damage. Finally, if you have blueberry bushes like these starting to flower, the best advice I have for you is to cover them up. Even a sheet tonight will help. If you can allow some of that heat that's in the ground to come up and then get trapped underneath that sheet or blanket, you will provide probably just enough protection to keep these blooms alive and viable. Of course, the wind is a different story. If it's windy, it's a challenge to keep things covered up, but do what you can tonight to save these blooms because once they're gone till next year.
Oh, every gardener, I feel it. I know you feel it too. This cold air is coming in. Let me show you some of these numbers as we look at some of the crops out there. Blueberries, 90% damage if we get down to, well, it depends on where you are in the budding and flowering process. Middle 20s will cause a lot of damage. Peaches, if you're in full bloom right now, 24 will wipe out about 90% of the crop. Post-bloom, 25 is all it takes. If you're just in the beginning stages, you might be okay tonight. And then for pears, they can handle a little more cold air. Most of those are not blooming yet. So down to 25 may be okay on the pear trees, but it's going to do some damage tonight.
Yeah, we'll have to see how things shape up after tonight.
Fingers crossed. Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow right here on News 4.